I don't know if there was room for another craft beer alternative to Guinness on the market, but we've got one anyway. Hello and welcome back to the channel, and yes, today I'm taking a look at yet another Nitro Stout / Porter from a craft brewer that is, well, inevitably trying to get on the Guinness hype train. This is a train I'm all for, by the way, because it will come across as me going, yeah, we've got another one, and it is, yes, another one. But if you've ever thought, oh yes, another one, about craft breweries putting out Nitro Porters and Stout, just remember how many IPAs we've had over the last 15 years, and let's be honest, the Nitro Stout and Porter train hasn't even come close. So in general, I do approve. There is less though that you can do with a Nitro Porter and Guinness than you can with an IPA to make it truly unique. So what we're looking at here is really whether it's better than the original, which isn't a massive benchmark, but Guinness does have a special place in the hearts of those who enjoy it. I am one of those people. And is it better than all of the other competitors? This one though is from Campervan Brewing. It is called Extra Black. Campervan Brewing are based in Edinburgh in Scotland, and as a result, I'm quite likely to like it. Let's be honest, Scottish beer is one of my favourite regional types of beer in general. They make some absolute tat up there, by the way. Just go and look at your supermarket craft beer shelf, most of it's there. But outside of that, their craft scene is absolutely eclectic and often some of the best in the entirety of the British Isles. So I'm quite excited for this. I've not tried it before. I picked this up at the HLC bottle shop in Fort William that I featured in a video a few weeks ago. It comes in at 4.5%. It's a 460ml can, which is interesting. The can size is 460. I'm going to assume that it is a Nitro Porter, that there's a big flushing of nitrogen in the top there. But 460ml, is that really how much we're getting? I don't know. We're going to find out though, because as always with a Guinness-esque drink, we're going to use a Guinness glass to see how it really stacks up. The description on the back is Nitro Porter, cold pressed coffee and chocolate smooth. Not sure whether they're additives or just flavours from that that barley itself, but we'll find out soon enough. Quick look at the can for you. It's well, black and gold. There is a surprise. They have gone a little bit different though than some others, with some of their own artwork on there as well that looks very nice. Campervan Brewery stemmed out of a love for brewing and Volkswagen campervans, of which I am also a big fan. So yeah, this should be right up my street. As always, we're going to be doing a very hard pour. Just enough so it can escape as quickly as possible and get that nitrogen all activated. It's interesting. It says 460 on the can, but that might be about right. 460 rather than 440. Yeah, okay. Maybe it is. We're not getting though a massive amount of that cascading effect that we'd normally expect with a Guinness. I'm going to shine a torch on this real quick to double check, but no, I'll give it the angle from that way so you can see it's not really giving, yeah, as I say, that cascading Guinnessy effect that you get with a lot of Nitro Porters. I am going to give it just a minute to settle down before I pick it up and start inspecting it. It looks good, nice kind of 1 centimetre and a bit thick band of head on it. It looks very much, let's be honest, like a Guinness. I think though, I'm going to gently pick it up just to inspect this. There's a nice big band of red bleeding through at the bottom of the glass, but otherwise it is pitch black, and well, it's called Extra Black, I guess, for a reason. It is a more opaque, more solidly coloured thing than a lot of the alternatives, and in fact the real Guinness deal. It definitely looks like a more resolute, is it a stout or a porter? It's a porter. Again, we've had this argument before. Whilst there is a distinct difference between stouts and porters, when it comes to nitro stuff, it all gets a bit flaky and people just call it whatever they think is most appropriate, give or take. So it's not going to be as roasty as a full-blown stout, but it was never going to be because of the nitro anyway. Anyway, enough waffling. What are the aromas like? It smells very, very, very similar to a really good pint of Guinness, and that is a great start. It's got a little bit of that irony metallic twang that we've come to expect. It's got the coffee, it's got the chocolate notes, but they're really soft, they're really subtle, but they also feel very real, not synthetic, not like that horrible cold brew coffee Guinness thing that they did. This feels not like an additive, like it's just something that's come in there from the roasted malt, and yeah, I have to say, smells very nice indeed. Visually, I mean, I wanted the cascading thing, but otherwise it looks very good. Aromas, also very nice. Let's get into it, shall we? Cheers. Okay, the good news. It tastes fantastic. Honestly, the flavours are there, they're rich, they're present, they don't feel synthetic, and it's just a nice, almost wholesome experience. It feels like real beer, and that's a very loaded term, I appreciate. But what I mean by that is it's not synthetic, it's not fake, it's also not doing something for the sake of it, it's not trying to be over the top, it's just running it right down the middle and just balancing everything off in a way that makes it feel honest. I don't really mean real beer, because all beer, give or take, is real beer. What I mean is this feels like an honest pint. It's not trying to pull the wool over your eyes to mask a fault or to, you know, boost up some marketing. It just feels like an absolutely brilliant pint of the dark stuff. And by the dark stuff, I don't mean Guinness, I mean stout and porter in general. It's nice, it's big, it's roasty, it's sweet, bit of coffee in there, bit of chocolate, as they said, but there's also this real, almost tangible nature to the grain. It almost feels like, you know, a grain-loaded cracker biscuit or something like that in there. There's definitely some of that base material still kicking around, and you really, really can taste it. I would expect in a beer of this colour, if you could still taste the grain, it'd be dark, pithy, bitter, but it's not. It's quite sweet, but, well, ultimately, it's just very, very granular? Is granular a word? Do you know what I mean? It's got that bite, that slightly sweet, earthy note that we expect from, well, cereal crops in general, and it's in there. It's adding an extra layer, an extra dimension of depth you don't get in a regular Guinness and in a lot of the other craft or actual craft knockoffs, but there is a problem with it, and this reminds me very much of a beer I reviewed not all that long ago. This beer, my local brewery, Blue Monkey's 99 Red Baboons Nitro Red Ale. This is a great beer anyway. The original version, bottle only, no nitro, no nonsense. This was meant to be a nitrogen flushed red ale, so you get that cascading effect, but a few different flavours from your regular stouts and porters that you would expect in that style. But they had a problem in canning. Basically, there isn't enough nitro in these cans, and I think the reason why, as you can tell, is because the cans simply aren't big enough to house enough extra nitrogen to really have the full effect. These, when poured, looked very much like this. You didn't get that cascading effect. The head was good but not massive, and the flavours were still there, and if anything, the flavours were more there than you'd expect given how nitrogen kind of depletes a bit of the flavour intensity. And we're seeing exactly the same thing here with this extra black. I don't know that they have the excuse of the can being the right or wrong size, because, well, that is a big can and there was definitely less than a full can's worth of beer in there. But even so, something I think has gone wrong in packaging. There isn't enough nitrogen flushing in the top of that can to really make it a proper nitro stout or porter. But is that a problem? Well, it is in terms of branding. If you're coming into this expecting a big, smooth, kind of physical, tactile experience, that for me is what nitro stouts and porters are all about. It's all about that thickness, that indulgence. It's not about heights of flavour. It's just about having something that feels just, yeah, beautiful on the tongue, basically. It's arguably not a million miles away, but it definitely feels like it could have done with a load more nitrogen in there to really help it get it on its way. And that is a little bit of a shame, but I think it's a problem that a lot of small breweries are facing right now, given the keen interest in this style of beer. So yeah, interesting that we've seen two with the same issue in such a short period of time. However, as I said, it's still fantastic, so we'll give it a quick top to bottom taste test so you can understand what I'm talking about. We'll take a quick look then at the can before we wrap things up. So initially, right on the tip of the tongue, nice roasty coffee bean, sweet coffee crema, and a tiny tip smattering of vanilla as well. It's nice, it's all very much in that coffee spectrum. You get a bit of the sweetness, you get a bit more of that roasty bitterness from the roasted grains, but otherwise, yeah, very much in that coffee wheelhouse. Over the mid palate, chills out a bit. This style of beer often does, not a huge amount of flavour. You start to get just a hint that you are going to get something more than your regular. That grainy malted barley thing, that cereal note, just starts to peek in just a little bit. It's slightly sharp at first, interestingly, but it is there. And then back of the tongue, it comes in full force. A bit of chocolate comes with it. It's almost like a one-sided chocolate biscuit. Think like a chocolate malted milk, but where the malted milk is grainier. It's more raw. It's more, well, less sweet and biscuity almost. But it works. It's balanced. And then the aftertaste. Tiny kick of coffee again. I'm not really getting much from the water profile. It's something that's normally very big in Scottish beer, but in this, maybe it's because it's Edinburgh and it's in a city, but I would have still expected something. It's not really there. It might just be the style because of all the other dominant notes, but a little bit of coffee, a little bit of vanilla. Ooh, tiny bit of dark chocolate also there rounding out, but it is soft, it's minute. It feels like a really good Guinness with a few extra notes and layers, is what I would say. It is one of my favourites, to be honest, of the Guinness alternatives, of the craft alternatives to Guinness. It is, in terms of a flavour profile, one of the best, I think. I've had some that are just Nitro stouts, but it's their core stout. Again, like Blue Monkey did, and their core stout is phenomenal, but it's big, it's more brash, I love it, but not everyone will, is what I'm saying. This, though, super approachable, but feels, again, like an honest pint. It's very, very nice. I'd just be fascinated to see what it would be like with a proper dosing of Nitro in these cans and that full cascading effect, because I think it could be something really quite special indeed. Right then, quick look at the can before we wrap it up. The best before on this, just to make sure there's no oddities. The 20th of the 1st next year, which at the time of filming puts us 3 months away, but I doubt these have had a year on. They've probably had 6 months on, so we're halfway through basically, so it should still be pretty good. As I said, it says extra black, nitro porter, cold pressed coffee and chocolate, smooth. There's just a sentence on its own there as a descriptor. 4.5%. The ingredients are water, malted barley, hops and yeast. So there is no flavour additives. We were right. It is an honest beer, and that's where those flavours come from. All the raw ingredients. Brewed in the UK by Campervan Brewery in Edinburgh. 2p from the sale of this can has been donated to Surfers Against Sewage, which, well, it's a nice touch, if nothing else. Campervan Brewery, I really rate these guys. I think they are fantastic. They've started popping up more and more to my trips over the border, and to be honest, I'm not mad about that. They do make some very nice things. This, though, is the best thing I've had from them, I must say. Not without some oddities, but if you said, do you want to buy some more? The answer is absolutely yes, and that's really all that matters. Don't expect the full visual tactile experience of a proper poured nitro porter or stout, but in terms of flavour, it's one of the good ones, and that's really is all I can say about it. So as always, thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like it. If you haven't already, subscribe if you'll be so kind, and I'll catch you next time. Cheers.